A Fisher-Price dollhouse. Okay, this used to be my daughter's dollhouse. We thrifted it originally. I did try to pass it on to another family who might want cheaper, inexpensive toys. But the problem was it was so damn big, nobody wanted it because they didn't have space for it in their house, and I can't really blame them. It is a giant monstrosity in pastel colors, and just look at it. It's huge. So, step one for prepping this for repainting was cleaning because it was dirty. So, I got to work, sanded it down a little bit to get off any of the bumps, then vacuumed, then used a dust cloth, and finally went over everything with wipes. And after all of that, I could confidently say that it didn't really look any cleaner than it had before, but it was cleaner. You're just going to have to take my word for that. Next up was spray painting. Drug it outside to the grass and started putting on thin coats of blue. My daughter asked me, "Mom, why'd you undercoat it when you were going to paint it?" And basically, I didn't want any place where I didn't paint to be that obvious pastel showing through. And I also thought it would give me a nice base for any of these spooky colors that I was planning on putting on this in the future. And as you can see, it looks very different in the dark blue. I got to work adding the additional colors on top, and I spent quite a lot of time base painting the house, even though I was planning on layering it up with things on top, particularly the bushes. But it's my firm belief that paint on the underside will cover a multitude of sins that set dressing and, casual redoing will not. So I went for it. After turning all of the greenery that was attached to the house, green, next I moved on and tackled the chimney, which I turned a beautiful brick red. I did a terrible job filming myself on this project, so seriously, sorry about that. It was long and boring and tedious to put on all these coats of color, and I was filming in my living room because it was too big to fit on my art table, and I was trying not to catch my kids or too much of the background, and obviously, as you can see from this shot, that wasn't working particularly well. And sometimes my kids would come in the room and I'd turn the camera off, and then I'd forget to turn it back on. So we are gonna give this project a D- for filming, but I'm actually pretty happy with the way it turned out. So I guess this is your first call for action for the evil trifecta. You go ahead and grade me. Give me 2 grades, one for filming and video production, and the other for when you see the final results, how you think it turned out. I will accept anything from the A to F scale or the numerical scale. You choose. So the roof got a nice slate gray color. The bushes got green. I did some of the trim, a slate gray as well. These windows and the doors and the balcony and things like that. And then I had one of those moments when I forgot and I turned the camera off, and so you missed a giant chunk of the painting. But essentially, I wanted to give this sort of the look of a more realistic house and then put the spooky on top of it. But I did want to make it look old and worn and weathered, so a lot of the places I went back with washes and layers and things like that so that it looked kind of like a rundown old house. Boom! Magically, the painting is done. I picked up these little skeletons at the dollar store. In fact, most of what I'm decorating the house with, I picked up at the dollar store, with the exception of the paints. I love them. They are oddly anatomically correct given where I purchased them. and they're super easy to dismember so that you can decorate the entire house with the body parts of your choosing. I had the best time going around covering up all the little hearts with like heads and rib cages, and I put some of the longer bones from the arms and legs along the pillars, and I don't know, I used the little feet bones as sconces. They were so cute. Yeah, I don't know. This was my favorite part of the project, just putting the bones everywhere. It was seriously a good time. The dollar store also had these little pumpkin cocktail sticks, which were very blingy because they were covered in glitter, but I didn't mind so much. My intention for this is to use it as an outdoor Halloween decoration, and I think having some sparkle on there means that it will catch the light. So even though they don't look super realistic, I still kind of liked them, and I stuck them all over the place. Next up was the Spiderwebs, also from the dollar store. I love the dollar store. You guys should shop there all the time if you don't. I grabbed this spiderweb gauze fabric, and then I cut out the spiderweb pattern so that I could web up all the windows and doors and make them sufficiently spooky. Also, off camera, I had gone through and put wax paper on the back of all the windows and doors because I wanted to make sure that the inside of the dollhouse, which I had not painted, did not show through and ruin my illusion of spooky. Little PSA, careful when working with hot glue. I know we all know that. I know we all have experience with hot glue, but even when you're experienced with hot glue, you'll burn yourself sometimes. Like when you decide to hot glue gauze to a dollhouse and the hot glue seeps through the gauze and attaches to your finger, and then you sort of scream and hop around for a little bit and try and peel it off your finger, and then mourn the fact that no matter how long you've been working with hot glue, you're still not smart enough not to hot glue yourself. Yeah, second call to action on the evil trifecta. Thumbs up if you've ever hot glued yourself. After I was done decorating the house, the last thing that I did off camera was put some fairy lights in the back so I could light her up. So, quick refresh. This is what we started with, a pastel Fisher-Price dollhouse, and this is where we ended up. I have to tell you, I'm so pleased with it as it stands on my front porch. I honestly, it turned out better than I expected. And it's beautiful lit up at night. I mean, look at that spooky glow. Thanks for watching, friends. Like, leave a comment, subscribe if you like my nonsense. Bye!